Chapter 27.
Dobby wrinkled his brows as he listened carefully, then voiced something that sent shivers of anticipation through Draco's veins. Indeed, Dobby recollects a fellow named Tom Riddle. Pray tell. Tom Riddle often visited Abraxas Malfoy when Dobby first commenced his tenure at Malfoy Manor. He and Abraxas Malfoy were schoolmates. He fits the precise description Draco Malfoy has provided. His appearance was striking, causing even Dobby to gaze in awe, yet Dobby found his eyes unsettling. They bore a similarity to Harry Potter's verdant gaze, yet possessed none of its warmth. Rather, they were frosty. Over time, a sinister red gleamed within them. Riddle was a perplexing presence to me, though one day, Dobby cannot recount when, he ceased attending Malfoy Manor, without any reason known to me. Perhaps Hagrid was onto something. A Muggle-born, a companion to Grandfather Abraxas? This person would later inspire Father's extreme views on blood purity? It sounded suspicious to Draco, who felt Hermione's group made a grave oversight excluding him from their sleuthing. Could crossing a line be excusable for a Muggle-born who turned against their own kind and attributed the blame to a socially ostracized Hagrid? Poor Hagrid, whose inferior breeding would make him an easy mark for Abraxas and his ilk. What if this Muggle-born wasn't entirely Muggle-born, if he had ever unlocked the Chamber of Secrets, possessing Salazar Slytherin's lineage? The Malfoys prided themselves on their purported Slytherin ancestry, with Grandfather Abraxas's portrait often leading the boasting. If Tom Riddle was the heir of Slytherin, or astute enough to pose as one, and from what Draco heard, Tom Riddle's intelligence backed such claims. Hermione was truly missing out, though her persistence in rallying around those ignorant acquaintances of hers meant she should shoulder some of the blame. Thus, Draco withheld his discoveries and only dared to infringe on the Gryffindors' territory in their makeshift library during Easter break, as the discussion of electives was underway. "Spare me the looks," Draco commented smoothly to Potter, whose face reddened and fell silent upon Draco's entrance. Even a Slytherin heir must enroll in third-year electives. "That's true," Hermione acknowledged, amidst her stressed analysis of potential classes, her attention too absorbed to discern the barb. "It's a decision that could shape our entire future." "I just wish to drop potions," Potter retorted, shrinking under Draco's withering glare. "What can I say? Your godfather has it in for me, and you're aware of it." "What madness haunts you? Don't you aspire to be an Auror?" Draco countered incredulously. Potter blinked, slightly at a loss. "A what?" "Potions can't be discarded," Ron lamented. "We continue with all previous subjects, otherwise I'd have axed offense against the dark arts." "But that one's crucial," Hermione interjected, wide-eyed with disbelief. "Not under Lockhart's tutelage," Ron argued. "The only lesson learned from him is to avoid unleashing pixies." "Ronald Weasley," Hermione scolded. "You know very well that isn't entirely accurate." "Hold on," Draco said pensively, eyeing each Gryffindor. "Don't tell me Hermione still fantasizes about that flamboyant buffoon?" It amused Draco to think Hermione had reasons to be jealous of Severus, a feeling of which neither was aware of. Ron chuckled, while Potter grimaced. "Merlin's beard, Hermione, when will you concede to his folly?" "Such discourse," Hermione admonished with an air of severity, "is the hallmark of a dark sorcerer, one set on discouraging young minds from their studies." "Regardless, Ron, you can't drop defense and will undoubtedly see new instructional staff next year," Draco continued, fumbling to cover any slip, as Lockhart's tenure is likely nearing its end. Draco's attempt to extract useful information was thwarted amid Hermione's fervent indignation, defending Lockhart. Not that it particularly mattered. He gained adequate insights into Potter's schedule for his third year. Integration remained elusive, though. "I must choose electives judiciously," Draco confided over a Sunday Easter dinner of lamb to Severus, "for I aspire to become an unspeakable." "Indeed," Severus mused absent-mindedly. Arithmancy, ancient runes, and divination are essential, naturally. Draco blinked in surprise. Who posits that I'm taking the full 3 electives? And how many does Miss Granger intend to undertake? Severus queried smoothly. Gazing through the hall to Hermione vehemently waving her fork at Ron, Draco felt a twinge. I haven't a clue, he muttered, returning to his course lists. Obviously, Muggle Studies is out, unless I want Father to feed the professor to a basilisk or some such. Only retrospectively did he realize the prescience in his jest about Professor Burbage's fate as Severus gazed bemusedly. What a vivid imagination you have, Draco. Is your godfather meant to fret over the contents of your dreams? And what of care of magical creatures? Draco pressed. Having already promised Hagrid he'd take the course, he hesitated to admit as much to Severus. Yet, skipping the class could artfully dodge hippogriffs. Isn't it requisite? If one aims for a position within the Department for the Regulation and Control of Magical Creatures, Severus remarked pointedly, I presumed your ambitions soared higher. An unspeakable would frequently engage with arithmancy, utilize runes, and divination is integral for one so focused on prophecies and foresight. Priority should be given to divination, he advised, observing Draco's reticence. Are the Gryffindors taking alternatives, I presume? They were, and Draco reluctantly anticipated fewer encounters with them next year, yet Hagrid's disappointment lingered in his thoughts. Leaving the half-giant to Azkaban in good conscience merited taking his class and dissuading Slytherins from making mischief. I can't say, Draco fibbed, but I find magical creatures fascinating. Snape scoffed. Vain lad, how long have I known you? Dragons and snakes, perhaps by mere resemblance, may catch your fancy. Yet other magical beings only captivate you when draped over your shoulders. Longbottom, talking to Draco willingly for the first time since Halloween, sought counsel regarding class elections. Draco recalled him enrolling in care of magical creatures, though wasn't quite sure beyond that. Why not take Muggle Studies, Longbottom? You'd likely find it appealing, he suggested, pondering unconventional options. Longbottom gaped at him in disbelief. You're suggesting I enroll in Muggle Studies? You? Why, ever not. Draco retorted, slightly defensive. Not my choice, but I reckon it would be easier than the alternatives. Opt for that and care of magical creatures, Longbottom. Thank me when you don't flunk out and wind up as staff on the night bus. Draco smirked at overhearing Longbottom, later sharing with fellow Gryffindors his decision on Muggle Studies and care of magical creatures. Neville, you're not joining us for divination? Ron groaned. I've no desire to flunk out of Hogwarts, Longbottom replied earnestly, and end as a night bus employee. His plea to Mother for any family tomes reflecting grandfather's bonds or writings yielded little. While she sent a hefty batch, the documents notably omitted mention of Abraxas's alleged companionship. Scanning through these left his eyes weary, with Dobby dedicatedly aiding his quest. At the very least, Draco reassured Dobby as they toiled, he was imparting basic research skills to the elf. Consider, Dobby, Draco would intone, fatigued. Soon you'll out-research Hermione. Imagine her delight. On May 7's impending dusk, Draco arrived at Hagrid's abode, bearing a parcel. Despite the time buried in mystery-solving, he neared no resolution, slowly accepting investigation might stretch endlessly without progress. Tomorrow loomed with Hermione's petrification and Hagrid's impending imprisonment, though he was less troubled by Peter Weasley's petrified partner. Life inexplicably continued its rhythm, none sensing an impending reckoning that would challenge history itself. Solely Draco prepared for this test, acutely aware of failure's price. Though Hagrid's door opened wide in welcome, Draco swiftly handed over the package. I must be off, he confessed, duty weighed heavy with notebooks of accumulated discoveries demanding final inspection, desperate for any overlooked insight. Almost he wished he could stay. But take this, he urged. The future's clouded. Father might strike unexpectedly. No attack necessary. I thought maybe you could hold this. Just in case. Thanks, Draco, Hagrid said with puzzled appreciation, tearing swiftly through the emerald and argent wrapping to expose a Moogie the dragon's scarlet spirals. This is a Moogie, Draco explained, sharing his embarrassment. She's, a dragon. I've owned her since she was wee. Hagrid examined her red-green serpentine form and sharpened spines, perhaps wondering what particular kind she was meant to be. She's from Korea. There's a legend about a Moogie I lacked time to recite, so I enclosed it, Draco indicated, noting the envelope was torn sympathetically. Reparo. Draco incanted, resealing it effortlessly, and pressed onward. I know it seems infantile, and you probably won't want her, but if the worst happens when you go to Azkaban, I know you cherish dragons, real ones, not toys yet. Struggling for words. Azkaban is dreadful. It alters you. The Dementors. It's desolate. Draco, feeling a surge of awkwardness and slight relief, had shared with Hagrid how much comfort his serpentine companion, Moogie, provided him at Hogwarts. She's been my only friend sometimes, Draco confessed, wrestling with the vulnerability of his admission. So, if you could look out for her, maybe she wouldn't be so lonely without me. Hagrid embraced Draco warmly once more and said, Thank ya, she's a treasure. You can visit her whenever ya fancy. With a jovial farewell, Hagrid urged him, Off ya go now, little dragon. Back to your lessons. I'll be here with her. Despite his studies, Draco's notes offered no new insights. On May 8th, he awoke knowing he still had a trick up his sleeve. It was something he hoped not to use, a tracking spell, the Avensegum, secretly placed on the latest charm he'd gifted at Christmas, marked with an H for Hermione. After breakfast, a jittery Potter hovered nearby, as was his custom on match days. He asked if Draco would attend, feigning a lack of interest. Not sure, Potter, Draco mumbled, lost in thought. His hand toyed absent-mindedly with his wand, finely tuned to help him track Hermione's presence with just a couple of strokes and a murmur of its incantation. He tested it, and it worked smoothly, leading straight to her. Depends on how I'm feeling, he said with an air of distraction. Potter shrugged off, and Draco's wand confirmed Hermione's presence by whispering Great Hall in a vague female voice that he insisted was not reminiscent of Aunt Bellatrix. Looking around, he spotted Granger conversing with Ron and Potter nearby. She was going to the game with Ron, though Draco hadn't needed to hear it to know. Whispering Avensegum, the wand pulled toward Hermione's location, though she felt no such tug. Soon she was out of sight, yet her path led instinctively towards the Quidditch field. In contentment, Draco joined the other Slytherins at the match, satisfied when he saw Ron's distinct red hair among the Gryffindors, pinpointing the same direction the charm was indicating. He wanted double assurance and stroked his wand again. Gryffindor stands, came the calm voice, allowing Draco to relax. Surely nothing would befall Hermione in such a crowd. Yet a second glance yielded no sight of her trademark curls next to Ron. Draco followed his wand's leading, pushing through the throng, wishing for Blaze's booming calls to clear the way with his rumored mischief. Yet caution held Draco's panic at bay. The enchantment affirmed her presence. She must be obscured by Finnegan's head. Typically, protests would rise as a Slytherin entered Gryffindor territory, now silenced by Draco's infamy. Only Ron and his crew dared to confront him. "What are you doing here?" Ron demanded. "Where is she?" Draco's urgency barely masked, heart thudding in unease. The wand again assured him, Gryffindor stands, but his gut twisted in doubt. Perhaps it tracked only the bracelet. Did she leave her bag here? Ron shook his head. Desperation led Draco to empty every nearby bag onto the floor, unable to find the expected glint of crystalled turquoise. "Damn it," he groaned, tears pricking his eyes. Even the bracelet couldn't tell the full tale. There wasn't a sign. Once more the wand misled him. Gryffindor stands. "Where's Hermione?" She went to the library, Ron answered, confused and perhaps falsely assured. Said she realized something. Why did she? Draco needed no more, fleeing down the stands, beseeching thin air. Dobby, I need you. Yet, unbound here, the elf wouldn't magically appear. His legs carried him faster than ever over the field, stubbornly ignoring the erroneous whisperings of his wand. Blinded by fear, he collided with a frantic Professor McGonagall, exiting the castle. Professor, what happened? Her voice heavy with burden. Draco. She paused, and his heart sank before she disclosed anything more. He dashed past, hardly breathing. His feet carried him to the hospital wing swiftly, heart hammering as he mounted the stairs urgently, cursing his wand's failure with every vile word in his lexicon. Hermione would be frozen, as stark as an emerald statue if luck held her still alive. He skidded to a halt at a petrified sixth-year Ravenclaw, Weasley's significant other perhaps, cast as unmoving as Creevy. In barely contained panic, he implored with fate that the figure Madame Pomfrey inspected wasn't her. There lay Hermione, unseeing eyes fixed ahead, her arm outstretched, bracelet intact. Maternal as ever, Madame Pomfrey gently acknowledged Draco's concern, perceiving his anguish as friendship rather than guilt. She's merely petrified, not dead, she reassured, then left, promising to confer with McGonagall. Approaching Hermione as if sleepwalking, Draco inspected her charm, hanging precisely placed as ever. With a sorrowful swipe, his wand's betrayal repeated. Gryffindor stands. Step away. Potter's fierce voice, wand menacingly directed at him, Ron looking torn between shock and anger. Yet Potter was relentless, pressing his wand against Draco's chest to hinder any movement. Step back, I said. Stumbling backward as Potter advanced, his green eyes flashing wrath like a weapon, Draco met the hospital bay wall, fear mingling with his breathlessness. Potter, unwavering amidst the sterile calm, was compelling in his livid hue. Ron said you were searching for her, I know it. Didn't he? Ron, pale as parchment, nodded dumbfounded. Get McGonagall, Ron. Nobody move. Draco withdrew his trembling hands, raising them in surrender, watching Ron vanish with Hermione's life possibly at stake. Potter, nose to nose with Draco, spat accusations. You came for her, and how could you do this? Hurt Hermione, Draco, why? And Draco wept. Tears tore free against his will, cascading uncontrolled. I'm sorry, he choked out, raindrops in a deluge. I tried to save her, but failed. Can't change it. Can't save her. In that unexpected turn, Potter's wand vanished back to his robes, replaced by the warmth of his arms, as he enveloped Draco in comfort. Potter smelled of the field, an earthy cocktail of grass, leather, and adrenaline. Draco was pulled close, feeling his sobs seep into Gryffindor scarlet, till he was lost, securely held by the bones of Potter's welcome, allowing the tears to fall, Potter's soothing touch through his hair like a benediction, silently permitting his breakdown. Cocooned securely, Draco listened numbly. It's all right. She's safe. Petrified but not gone, the cure soon. Don't lose hope. Desperate to believe, Draco clung, unchallenged, clinging to Potter's assuring touch. Harry, Ron's voice nearby, ending in a hushed exclamation, rendered speechless not from anger, but by incredulity at the scene. McGonagall appeared, prompting Potter's reluctant withdrawal, keeping a reassuring grip on Draco. They were found near the library, McGonagall explained gravely. Do you know anything? This was beside them. She displayed a small mirror, a mundane object shrouded in import. Both Ron and Harry denied knowledge. Draco, noticed for once, followed suit hesitantly, struggling to compose himself. I'm sorry, Nodding slightly, McGonagall heeded him. I shall return you to your houses. She gently encouraged Draco. Have faith, Mr. Malfoy. She'll recover fully. Your own professor will accompany you shortly. She began to depart but checked to see what kept Ron and Potter as a team. Ron's hands reflexively guided Draco, shared support as though a tether to resolution, as if offering hope with tangible guardianship. By Merlin's beard, Draco, are you okay? Potter's right. He's definitely not the heir of Slytherin, Potter remarked, and as he and his companion turned to trail after McGonagall, he acknowledged Draco with a quick nod as a farewell.
Thanks for listening. If you enjoyed this chapter, please hit the subscribe button and ring the bell to stay updated with more audiobooks. Happy listening!